Welcome, everyone. We are here. This is the second big free podcast. Jeff Gross, Brian Rast, fresh off his bracelet. We're going to cover that. Number 5, Stamps' Hall of Fame. We'll talk about that in a bit. But first off, Brian, how are you? What's going on? You won your bracelet. We're going to cover later. How are you feeling?
What's up, my man? I'm good. You know, it's always magical when things work out in a tournament. You play them. Shit goes wrong, you feel disappointed. You know, I had already played, 15 tournaments this summer, and you're just like, every day you're like, man, but then the time when things work out, it makes up for it. So yeah, man, I'm feeling great, obviously.
Very nice.
And I'd like to think that I would have made it either way, but you know what? Sometimes you just have to remind people that us old men can still do it. You know, mix it up with the young guns.
I love it. Well, we're going to cover that. Let's first dive into the World Series and where we're at.
Yeah.
So last time we checked in, it was earlier in the series. Now we're getting there. It's about halfway in terms of event-wise what's left. So we're going to scroll down here. You're actually number 2 overall in this 2,500 as well today, right? The 2,500, which is kind of exciting.
9 game, which is now the way the 50K is being played. They added no limit single draw, and I'm very excited about that.
There it is right there.
Yeah.
So we both busted the 25K. PLO kind of,
300 something players in the 9 game, and there's still like just over 100 left. Money is going to be like 40 something. So, I mean, there's 3-day tournament. So it's still like a ways to go. But I think 6-handed is my wheelhouse. Jeff knows this as well. And
yes.
He actually pointed it out to me, and I think it's true. And yeah, man, this is also it. There's like, whoever's at my table, it's like, I think one of my strengths at this point in my career is that I don't really have any weak games. And so it's like, which game are you trying to hide? Because like, we're going to find out.
How does it work? Because this is something I keep saying every year. I want to dive into the mixed games. It seems more winnable, the bracelets, right? Just in field size,
smaller
and also
fields.
People there's room to get, if you really work on a few things, can you outwork people? Well, how does it work? Is it an orbit? Is it a time? How do they switch?
Well, they basically make it like the number of hands that are people at the table.
Okay.
So it'll be like 6 hands. So 6 hands of a game because it's a 6-handed thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you do not know 1 or 2 of the games super well, you can hide a little.
You can
right?
hide a little.
You can
just
sort
like
of
fold a bunch.
in like
Sure.
Yeah. Steve Danneman will tell you only a small mistake to fold. It's like
it's true, but like let's say that's true, and you see someone's trying not to play a game. Then all of a sudden it's like you can just open a shitload in that game.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's not like you're winning huge, but all of a sudden now it's like much easier to pick up a little bit here and there. There's just, or even almost the flip side is like, let's say, someone doesn't like certain games, but then really likes this game. Sometimes then they try like way too hard in that game and they start playing too many hands. And then you just, play solid, but aggro and punish them for like having too wide a range. I mean, there's just a whole lot of little things in this that I don't know.
There's little nuances. Someone like myself, who I feel confident in some of the games, I don't really know. I'd never played stud or something. If I came in there, what would be? Is it impossible to win or close to impossible? It's not like I can just I'll wait for no limit and jam it and like whatever. Right? It doesn't work like that.
Listen, it's having like never played really. It's pretty close to impossible, I would say. I mean, you need to have at least some experience.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to be good. I mean, listen, when I won the 50K the first time, I was not a very good up card game mixed player. Stud 8, Raz. No, I was like below average in the field in those games.
Right.
That said, I was also definitely helped out by the fact that the final table was no limit hold'em, and I knew that when I signed up for the event,
mm-hmm.
which was 2012. Like that was massive for me.
That was the year when you beat. What was it? How many?
That was when I beat
huge deficit. What was it?
I mean, we started. He had a small lead, and it was a battle heads up. To be fair, he won like a massive hand versus me where I basically played it perfect, called a huge check raise on the turn with like second pair when he had like an open-ended straight draw and he banged it out and I folded the river. Stuff like that. But, at one point, at the low point, if you want to take, I was at a huge chip deficit. And I basically won as a favorite 3 times all in against basically 3 flush draws, which I think in all 3 times were basically naked flush draws. So I was like 60% plus each time. If you take it from there, whatever, it was like 60% to the third power. So whatever the fuck that is. Like, you know, I was like 20% to do that. But yeah, it's like luck works in interesting ways in tournament. But the thing is, you're never going to win a tournament, no matter how good you play, unless you run really fucking good and get lucky. You're not beating 200 people just because you're like amazing and you bluff them every time. You're going to have to run good.
You have to win small wins. You're just going to have to do it.
You just have to fucking run good.
All right. Well, so here, we're in the 9-game mix. You're in all of a sudden, fresh off a bracelet, in now, second, looking good in this event. That's fun. There's also a nice little 6-handed no limit championship going on. So it's 6-handed coming up here. Yeah. It's my wheelhouse, but that tournament will be a lot tougher because unlike the 3K, like a lot of killers will be in that. And, no limit. People just have gotten way better no limit in the last 5 years or so since solvers. But both of us going to play that, right? Yeah. Well, hopefully you can't, or, hopefully I can't. Yeah. Because final table would preclude that. Okay. Then I probably play this. I'm a little not excited about it because, the next day is the Poker Players Championship, but the Poker Players Championship lets you buy in till like 10 p.m. on day 2. And I think the reason is basically to let people, like, you could potentially win the 10K limit deuce and still play the PPC. Okay. But I'm looking to bet more. I'm looking to bet more on myself on the 50K. I'm feeling, listen, like I said, I hadn't played poker for like a year and a half. I came into the series. I'm like, maybe I'm not good anymore. Whatever. But you got a confidence boost shot. You're in there. Listen, I've been playing tournaments every day and getting warmed up, and I feel great, and I'm ready to go. Okay. Obviously, the confidence boost helps, but I was already feeling pretty good about my play. Like I think Jeff and I talk, every day. Yeah. I had already told you on a couple, so I'm like, oh, I busted. I didn't even cash, but I'm like, oh, I played really good today. Yeah. I'm happy with it. So it's like once you start feeling that way, that's huge. And also just ability to focus, right? You use Elliot. I use Brain Fuel. We both use Elliot. Brain Fuel. I did use Brain Fuel on day 2. I went over and drank some of Jeff's Brain Fuel, right? The purple ones. That's true. I did. I was a little wired that day. Yeah. That's like, dude, it's like the that's a fun, the 30-minute level 6 max. I mean, it's bang, bang. Yeah, it's over. You just had it. Bracelet, you even had time for dinner. So afterwards. All right. So that's cool. There's a lot going on. This is starting to get fun. The 10Ks, the 50Ks, the 10K high low, the 50K. There's some high rollers. Coming up. Yeah, let's go to the main real fast. Let's talk about the main because this is super interesting. I just started looking at it today. I doubt you really looked at it. You got a 40th birthday coming up as well, which is nice to sneak 5 bracelets in before the 40th. Be a little more fun at the party. The whole thing's going to be great celebration. But here, let's look at the structure sheet because this is a bit confusing. So the main event, I mean, look at what's going on here. What is going on? Day 1A combines. Like, you really got to kind of map out your schedule here, right? Never had this. Like, look, even like the day 2 isn't like in order. It's like A, B, D is day 2A. And then day 2, there's day 2. The second day 2 is like, so it's a little complicated. So let's just talk about a couple of interesting notes. The Europeans are opened up to come November 8th. I believe that's like when it's just like free for all, like the vaccines and whatever. So there will be, let's say, giving Europe some respect, some tougher players, new players coming in, probably rested, fresh off studying, going to come over. They got to deal with jet lag, which matters. So that's like maybe that neutralizes the skill level. But anyway, what jumps out at you and what day do you think you'll play? Would you like to get it out of the way? You got your party, you got stuff coming up. What are you going to do here? Well, so for me, going back to this, it's like I'm celebrating the 6th, even though my birthday's the 8th. I mean, dude, I'm playing this 10K like basically for sure. I mean, it's way after the 50K, so I mean, I guess unless I final table or I don't even know, I would normally probably play one of these first 2 days here. Would be my shot, like before this, so I can then chill out after my birthday. I probably get drunk and have a hangover this day. Don't want to play, but we'll see how that goes. So probably my target day is going to be this, I would say. But it could end up being here. Although I'd rather get it out of the way before these last 2 days. That's what I'm thinking. What are you thinking? So I've looked at it. So the 7th, I would like to play this 3,200 online. Shout out to Cannoli, who actually won this event for like 325K a few years back. But the interesting thing is, I think also a lot of good players are going to want to play this. It's online, it's easy, and this is sort of the cutoff when Europeans come the next day. So I actually think this would be a pretty soft day to play the main. And if you match up on how it then goes into the future, right? So now if you look at that day, which is Sunday the 7th, That's day 1D. Okay. So then your day 2 would be on Tuesday the 9th, right? And then you avoid sort of the Europeans coming in for that last fight. So like I think from a standpoint, if you really think about it, I think it's gonna be softer to play on those early.
So the best
flights.
would be really playing day 1 A or B. Yeah, so I'm basically doing that. Yeah,
but for you that's the day after your thing, and it's like
and you got that 3,200. You could probably
which is that's what I'm saying though. That would be cool. But like, I think it's gonna be. I think this is gonna be a soft day to play the main.
So maybe shipping DD after the hangover, like regging late, might be better than.
And so interesting. Also, you can register at the start of day 2. 2 hours in.
Oh, you can.
You can. So that's also interesting to note. So you can see right here, late reg.
Okay. So you can reg all the way up till these 2 days.
Yeah, you can come in on at the end here.
Okay. Well, I'm playing one of the first 2 days unless I'm crushing the 10K PLO8. Okay. I'm gonna play. My target's gonna be day 1B. I think. I mean that's only a final table of 10K PLO8. Probably won't do that. So probably day 1B.
And what do you think? So Rast historically.
What about you?
Let's
do day 1B, bro. Come on.
Day 1B. So here's the problem. That is a zero. There's nothing. I'm not playing that day because it's the World Cup of Vegas soccer, the trophy thing. That's my thing. USA's won twice. Okay. They kind of need me, for a shot. Humbly. I'm going to play
Jeff's
that.
Jeff's actually a very good soccer player. Football. That's what the world calls
it. Yes. I'm going to play that day. So Fifth is out for me. That does look like a good option. So then it comes down to
Thursday. I mean, you can just do it the first day. Just like bang it out.
Yeah. Again, you're right. Assuming I'm out of the PLO8, which I'm going to do.
Oh, you are going to play the PLO8.
Yeah, I love that. I love the game. I'm going to take it. You could give me a couple tips. Hashim's going to come over, give me a study session because apparently that's one of the better value.
Still in this 2,500 too.
25K or
no? The one I'm in. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Hashim's a podcast guest as well. So anyway, it's kind of up in the air, but it's important to look. I think these are important to have an idea of what you kind of want to do. But obviously things change. Remain.
I hope I lose that bet to you. Pay you that $200. We get over 7,000 people. Just entrants. Let's go.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
We're gonna
it's awesome. Europe is back.
Europe is back. And look at speaking of being back, we have got our big free is officially online, guys. You got to hit the subscribe button. 43 people hopped in. We just put out a tweet. That number we could get that up. We're gonna start having some guests on. And also we're gonna do a giveaway today. The $200 in BTC. So we'll roll that live. There is an actual, look at this little fancy at the end of the day. I'm gonna let you run your day 2 at the end. I'm gonna do this though when we're done. Yeah. And I'm gonna plug this in, let people know they can win this.
And listen, guys, giveaways. We want to have guests. The truth is it's during the WSOP. We're both busy. We're playing tournaments every day. It's hard enough for us to find time to bang it out. But one of the goals of this podcast is to talk to interesting people. We've already started planting a few seeds. We have a big list of people we want to talk to. Poker. We're only going to get poker crushers and then, crypto people. I mean, I know a lot of really big players, really smart, really sharp guys like Alpha. That's what's going to be on this.
Big names.
Alpha.
Some big names.
So
it's going to be fun. We're just warming up. We want to get a few in. Rast just won his bracelet. Yeah. This is number 2. Let's cut forward to that. To your bracelet. Let's talk about this because it is fun, man. Winning it's few and far between. Number 5.
So Jeff and I were riding for a little while in this tournament together. I basically I hopped in right after I busted a few out of the money in the 10K no limit deuce. I was nursing a short stack and it just didn't make it. And then I hopped in. Pretty quickly got things going. I had really early on. I got a couple bluffs through. I'm trying to think. Okay, here's the 2 bluffs. So these were 2 of my better bluffs of the tournament. They happened like early on when I was building my stack. So this kind of wild player. He played really goofy. Like really early on, he had this weird hand where he had flatted a raise out of the small blind and showed down like 3-5 off. So I'm like, okay, this guy's like. It's a little all over the place. He had some weird hand where he like defended the big blind versus me. Okay. And I was like button or something, and I had like Jack 5 suited. I was just like some goofy suited hand. And he led on like, it was like, what the hell did I have? It was this isn't going to be exactly right, but let's say it was like 996. Or no, it was lower. Let's say it was like 7-7-4, and I had like Jack 5 suited. That's right. Okay. And he just led 7-7-4. I'm like, okay, float. I had 2 over cards to that. He didn't lead that big. I think there was a flush draw. and I had a backdoor. So it's like, okay. And then the turn was a 6, and he led again. And I'm just like, this guy doesn't have 3 of a kind.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, he just doesn't. So maybe he has a 4, and God bless him. I have a lot of outs versus a 4 now. Now I have a pure open ender and 2 overcards. Maybe he just has air. So I just put them all in, and my man folded. All right. And then later, next bluff, I open queen jack of clubs, EP. Same guy calls the button.
Okay.
Now, this other guy who was active, an active player who I knew was willing to be aggressive. He had already 3-bet that guy, shown whatever, some kind of suited hand. Wasn't unreasonable, but this is a spot where loose guy who has really wide range, and he had a kind of stack that could put a lot of pressure on this. So he does like a 4x, like 4.2x 3-bet out of the small blind here.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm obviously not excited about it. He makes it, I think it's 5K call. He makes it like 22K. I don't even know if he has 100K back. So it's like one of those spots you can't be that excited. But I'm like, you know what? This guy doesn't have to have a great hand. I have queen jack of clubs. Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm in here to like build up chips. And so I call. The guy on the button folds, obviously. That guy's like never flatting queens there. Anyway, flop is ace 10 7, 1 club, 2 diamonds. He bets out 19K. Pretty easy float, I think. I call. Basically, my plan is to try to take this on the turn if he checks. Turn is like a 4. I don't think it brings a double flush draw. Oh, no. It's a low card. It doesn't bring clubs. He checks, and I like bet 30K or something. He had like 80. I bet like 32. An amount that is like decent compared to the pot, but obviously at this point still significantly smaller, but kind of like puts him kind of at a decision for his chips, but is still like not so big on pot committing myself. Obviously, if he moves all in, I probably only have a gutter, so it's a pretty easy fold, and he folds.
Right.
So whatever, I built up a bunch of chips, had a decent amount of chips going to day 2.
Before, let me just interject.
Yeah,
Let me interject.
day
Speaking
1.
of day 2, this is pretty insane because Rast wins the tournament. I stone cold money bubble in a spot, which is pretty funny. And if you think about it, because the guy that bubbled me was the same guy I had sent one hand to Rast on day 1, like hours before, and a picture of this guy just laughing because his outfit was kind of ridiculous, like tracksuit was a funny hand, and then Rast ends up beating this guy heads up, and this guy bubbles me with top set of aces on the money bubble. I was super short, easy cash. I literally will not put my money with kings here because I'm just like, I'm going to take the money, and I don't want to be 70-30. And in this particular spot, it was a cutoff open. I'm on the button and I can't reopen the action. I had like 2.8 blinds and the guy made it 2.2. So like I know that it's likely going 3-way. So that's
Which
also
makes it even tougher
with kings to win. So I go with aces, sure enough, make top set in the turn. And I actually thought I was beat because the guy in the big blind let out into the other guy, and I knew the guy, and I just was like, fuck, he has a flush here, like a low flush at king jack. And anyway, he did have a 6-3 suited. I said it before the cards were over. I said, man, I'm in behind. It's not good because he pulled out his camera. And I was getting ready for the pain, and everyone came over, and you got 150 people not rooting for you. Well, maybe 149. Rast probably wants me to double, doesn't care. Well, actually wants the bubble to go, even in general, right? With the big stack.
I wanted the bubble to go.
And you know, your boy, your podcast host, co-host.
Well, mostly it wouldn't have mattered if I had a big stack or not.
Of course.
I would have wanted you to stay.
I know. I understand.
Yeah.
Anyway, I lose, so here it is. There it is. Everyone, you know, aces on the bubble.
Which is sick.
990.
I'm not bubbling this for sure. Not then of course
That
he gets aces and loses. It's pretty rough.
That's crazy, man.
It would have been huge. I mean, listen, I think it's right to play aces there for sure. I mean, you win that, and all of a sudden you probably like more than triple. You're probably like an average stack or something.
I mean, I would have been okay. Yeah, I would have been like a playable stack. Like,
yeah, but like, listen, I know it's the bubble, but like that's a lot of EV with aces. I mean, it's not even kings. So anyway,
that's that. So that's day 1.
So then I close out. I close out day 2. The very last hand of the night, I got it in with ace 5 of diamonds on 9-5-4 with 2 diamonds against king 3 of diamonds for like big, for a full double against the only guy on the table who covered me.
Okay.
And ended up one of the top 5 in chips. Day 2 was just like a dream. I mean, I sat down, you know, first hand I flopped top 2 pair. Didn't win a huge pot, but won a check raise on the flop. The guy folded. Ran pure all day. By the first break, I was basically the chip leader, and then just kept accumulating chips. Got a situation where, you know, like 15 left, I had a third of the chips. or not like 25%.
Yeah, let's look at here's the final table. So you are the chip leader, but still, this guy Nick Eunice, who I know of and is definitely a player. Let's look at.
I actually had 13 million with like 13 left.
Okay.
And then started there. Very first, the final table went slow, but pretty soon by 6 left, I had half the chips. And then, it was a very fast structure. So there was some shorts. So I was doing some ICM, some pressure. There was like 1 or 2 guys at the final table that I got the impression didn't give a shit about ICM. So it kind of, that then handcuffs, like, here's the deal. If everybody's paying attention to ICM, then you can do it, right, as a chip leader. Yeah. But if there's some short stacks or like short people who like theoretically should care about ICM, but like don't for whatever reason, like they want to win, that kind of means that you're punting if you do ICM stuff as the big stack, because you're going to be doing plays that are minus chip EV for you, but that work because someone should care about ICM. But if they don't, then you're just kind of losing. You know what I'm saying? Even though that guy is making a play that loses him money, it's also losing you money. The people who gain are all the other people who aren't in the hand.
It's super interesting. That's why poker's so exciting, because this is that you need to be able to decipher that.
So
you got to see who's doing
some
what.
spots where I kind of know, like, oh, hey, this is a shove. Like maybe I'm supposed to shove any 2 here. I didn't shove any 2. Like I get like deuce 5 off, or maybe even not that week, and like pass.
Right.
Because especially it's really the guy who I'm thinking of is this Japanese guy Yunobara. He was ready to go. Yeah. Like he wanted to win. And then even the guy who ended up calling later, who was right to my right, I forget his name, but he called off second in chips with like ace 5 suited against my 5-handed under the gun.
Yes, that's
Nick
right.
Eunice. It's like it's an ICM punt.
Yeah, that's what I saw that hand. That was my first thought. I was surprised, but also maybe just thought you were just sort of even if
here's the thing, I actually wasn't kamikazing, but like even if I have 60, I might have had 50 to 60% shove there.
Right.
It's under the gun 5, so I'm not doing 100. Maybe I could have done 100, but I wasn't for the exact reason I said, which is right. Like, look, this guy, I knew the guy to my right, by the way, who's in the big blind. I knew he wasn't going to fold something super good. I didn't even, or even decent, because literally one of the ways I won a bunch of final chips at this final table was like, it would be, no one wanted to fuck with my blind. It would get folded to him in the small blind. He contested all the pots with me and, lost like all those pots, even including a pot where, by the way, after checking back like 3 times, I finally raise. He then goes into the tank, makes a pretty big re-raise where he puts in like 35, 40% of his stack or something crazy. And I just snap shove and he just snap folds. I have ace king, but it's just like,
why is he messing around?
Like he just want, he's going for it, and it didn't work out for him. And so I know like under the gun 5 there, like this guy's not gonna probably make the proper ICM fold. I had ace 4 suited, so that's a pretty easy jam there. But I would have jammed like 6-7 suited. I would have probably jammed like 10-7 suited or like 8-6 suited or whatever. But it's like you don't really want to see those type of hands anyway with like ace 5.
Exactly. And actually, this hand's interesting here because Matas Symbolis, I told you, he's a podcast guest. Good, he's a friend of mine and really good player.
Like this is a questionable call.
He flats and he raises at a 7-handed, basically final table. He under the gun and he flats ace 8 off.
Like that, I think that's a fold.
Crazy too. And he's right. The guy was messing around, but so what? Ace 8 off doesn't play very well.
I mean, So anyway, so there were some guys trying to win, which kind of meant. I knew I like theoretical any 2 shove spots and whatever. I'm like, I'll pass a few of these. And also like, hey, I'm not shoving everything.
Yeah.
But also this guy, dude, my busting this guy, this was interesting. So this guy jams under the gun 6 for it's like 6 or 7 blinds. It's folded to me in the big blind. I have 6-7 suited. When I'm sitting there thinking, calculating, doing the math, it's like, okay, I got to call 2.2 to win like 3.8 or something like this. I'm like, I need about 37%. Then all of a sudden, it takes me a little bit to do this. I start thinking about his range. I'm like, well, he's been playing pretty conscious, but it's like 6-7 blinds, about to catch the blind, having to post a big blind ante. So that's 2. 1, you're just losing. Like he's doing any ace, probably a bunch of king suited, probably any 2 even offsuit this. So I'm like, 6-7 suited. I'm starting to make this calculation like it's probably a call, right? Because I'm about to call a 7 high. But it's like, during this time, he starts talking to me. And at first, he seems pretty confident, like, a call. I want you to call. Like, I'm like, sitting there. I don't respond at first, but he's going for it.
He's engaging with you.
He's engaging. He keeps doing it.
With the king, yeah.
And so, like, all of a sudden, I'm like talking to him, like, really? Because I don't think anybody. I know everyone else at this table wants me to call, but you want me to call?
Yeah.
Your hand's that good? And he's like, yeah, I want you to call. And then I'm like, man, what do you think I have? You think I have king 10? You don't want me to. I don't think you want me to call with this hand, like unless you got like pocket 8s or 9s. Like you got that,
right?
And then all of a sudden he didn't talk for like 10 seconds, and then he started doing it. But I could feel a little desperation.
The energy shifted.
And honestly, I was already probably gonna call, but then once it was that, I'm like, oh shit! Like I actually think now, I kind of felt at first he seemed a little confident, but now I was like, okay, yeah, I actually don't think he has a pair now. So then I just called right away.
Right.
And he had ace queen suited, which is a good hand. But by the way,
we know ace queen can't win.
Ace queen of spades versus 6-7 of diamonds. For you guys that don't know, this is, I think it's 41,
40, roughly,
like almost 41.59. So like I actually was getting the right price for the money. And that doesn't even count the fact that it's terrible for him ICM wise that I call. He doesn't want me to call if he's a 2-1 favorite, probably, which is like he's winning,
the risk
a
premium.
little bit on the
Shout out to Ben CB, that's a risk premium.
The risk premium. So
he doesn't want to go.
So yeah, it's like I didn't have the ace 8 and he was ahead. I had the killer hand anyway, so I won that. Because I mean, listen, I won the tournament by running pure. I'm really happy with my decisions, but that's how you win tournaments is you win all ins, especially when it's 30-minute levels. But so yeah, anyway, there was some of that, and then. After some of those guys busted, it just a lot of all-ins. I mean, at one point, the blinds are like 200, 400, 400. There's a million out there with only 40 million in the tournament.
Right.
So when like guys are short and a few times you jam, you pick up $1 million. It kind of pays sometimes for getting it all in when you're behind.
And here's what I thought was the most interesting thing. And I remember sweating the updates while I was in another tournament. It was going really fast. I saw this and look at it here. So Nick Eunice busts the player, fades the flush draw, down to 4.
Yeah, by the way, this is this guy. Trying to win. I mean, the guy, with not a lot of chips, and I think the cutoff, he opens the 7-5 suited. I mean, listen, you're not supposed to open that off of like 20 blinds or whatever the hell the guy had, with like big ICM shit, against the guy who's like kind of number 2 in chips, although they're all like way, way less than me. But in the big blind, who's going to defend, you just don't do that unless you're trying to win. But it's kind of an ICM punt open. But by the way, this is another reason this Juan Obarro, I said, was going for it. Like, yeah, I'm just not doing some ICM. Like I did put ICM pressure, but it was less than what I know the optimum is because, there are a few gangsters at the table.
For sure. Well, listen, the interesting part here is Nick Eunice wins the hand. He holds, top pair, defends, gets it in, doesn't love it, whatever. Down to 4, 8.8 million. Pretty healthy comparatively. Look at this. When he then busts, I think he was in second.
He had lost a few pots before calling off the ace. Oh, yeah, here. Because he only had like 6 million. He lost.
Okay, but still he's in second. He's in second.
Yes.
And he in 2 players that potentially
second, he could have gotten. Listen, the truth is Nick probably in terms of toughness, whatever, heads up, Nick might have been the toughest guy. I think his strategy probably should have been to be more ICM conscious and try to get heads up with me. And
what a fucking sweat on the turn. I mean, that's maybe part of the ace-5 suited, adds a couple points. Like it's pretty, maybe ace-5 off you would fold. It might be that close. Like this is even ICM-wise definitely not a call, but he does call, picks up the turn, double gutted, flush draw, or a 5.
Yo, I can tell you because I actually did a long time ago. You remember there was a period where working on my ICM, and this happened like kind of right as I was starting to really crush the tournaments.
I remember you were some sick and goes.
I played like about 1K like turbos, the highest turbos on stars. I actually won, and you saw like Jeff was with me. I was like playing them, and then I'd be running hands in the thing to look. It really helped my ICM game. I mean, dude, the guy's second in chips there with the payouts as they are. I mean, he's honestly supposed to call. I would guess his calling range. I don't remember the exact payouts, but it's probably like sixes or sevens plus, like maybe sevens plus, like ace king, ace queen, maybe like ace jack suited, probably folding even king queen suited. Like it should be tight. Like ace 5 suited is not making it.
Right. Which is kind of crazy to like you're going to chop a lot. And the fact that you did have ace 4 suited as well. I mean, but yeah, that was pretty unlucky for him. But at the same time, yeah, maybe a bit of a blunder potentially.
Yeah, no, it was a punt, but like I said, I mean, whatever. The guy's
he's a great player. Good for him too. A nice score, 141K.
Like it's a punt in the sense of like for money.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to win the tournament and you don't necessarily care, which I'm not saying I wouldn't. I might have that attitude to a certain extent. Like this is a 3K tournament for me. The bracelet's like way more valuable than a little ICM. So I don't want to judge. He could have a different value set. But in terms of monetarily speaking, yeah.
And now here we go down. So now down to third place. You have such a lead.
Start possibly being late. I got like 2 minutes.
Okay.
Let me call my car.
Call the car. Brian shoves here 4-5 off, kind of an any 2 spot, right? He's going to get so much folds. Even though Twan's risk premium is the lowest, it is a big jump, and he could be patient. He finds Queen Jack, decides to call.
So it was three-handed. Yeah. The button folded, and now this is a spot where those two guys had basically the same chips.
It was 6-2, or it says, but whatever.
No, they had basically he had like 4 mil or something, right?
Okay.
Yeah, so 5, like almost 5, 4.5, 5. I mean, they're close. I actually think this is an any 2 spot for me because it's a spot where, I mean, they're both close in chips. I think I'm supposed to shove basically like any 2.
For sure.
I might have folded like literally like deuce 3 off or like deuce 6 off, but like I actually think I did fold deuce 3 off in the very previous small blind in the exact, like we played a few hands. I folded deuce 3 off and then I shoved this one. It could be any 2 easily though. Mm-hmm. And this guy Tuan Pham was playing ICM conscious.
For sure.
So,
well, look you hit the 5. It is down to heads up, and then heads up, Queen 10, King 10. Interestingly enough, Rast beats the guy that bubbled me. And nice score for him, 293,000. Obviously, would have been nice to go 1-2. Me and Rast, we were talking about, joking about it like right before. It is so crazy. I feel like I did jinx myself. I just really thought there was 0% chance I could ever bubble because I literally was only going to put in aces. You get aces every 220 hands, so I'd have to get aces and then lose. It's probably less than 1%. Right? Yeah, like I have to get dealt aces.
Sometimes you just see it. I'll tell you, there came a moment when it was 2 tables left. And the blinds had just gone up, and the 2 guys to my left finally had both were 20 big blinds and under, and it got folded to me on the button. And I'm up to 13, 14 million, 10 left. I got a third of the chips. And I'm like, okay, now I'm just going to start jamming some hands here, like a decent chunk of hands that I think are good jams to just max ICM pressure these guys. There's a lot of ICM pressure at this point. 10th place is 30K. Right, I mean, 20. You got a decent chip stack, you're worth 100,000. It's like fucking punting to call in those spots too, because it was a spot where a lot of people were all around 3 mil or whatever, just 15, 20 blinds at the time. Anyway, sure enough, the second time I did it, aces.
Right into it.
It's so hard to get aces, but then you get it. That's my point.
I'm trying to be more aggressive. I feel like that happens to me too. Anytime I've gotten big stacks try to run over, I just run top of the range. And I'm like, fuck. Why don't I just But listen, that's
sometimes it still works, and sometimes they don't have.
I'm gonna do the giveaway. I know you have to go. Last question here. What's up with this CryptoPunk sold for 530? I know it was kind of like a thing, but it actually was a real transaction. But it was kind of. Can you explain what happened though? Even though it's not real, it's it was a real transaction.
It was somebody almost for sure bought it from themselves. It's a joke price that is way higher than any CryptoPunk has sold yet. Who knows? Maybe an alien or something goes for that at some point in the future.
It's actually a cool punk.
But yeah, white hairs are cool. But that's and so there's some speculation that maybe this guy did a flash loan. I don't know if they actually did research to find it out. Oh yeah, here this flash loan, which means basically they collateralize and take out a bunch of F, and let's say they put up $1 million or 2 million or whatever, 5 million in F, but you get a bunch more F, you probably have to pay a decent amount of interest on it, but it's very fast.
Wait, he
sends the F, does it himself, then probably pays back the loan right away.
Hold on though. As you walk out the door, what you just said makes no sense to me. You're telling me some guy can give a couple million and get a loan that's in his possession of 500 million? How's that possible? How can you do that and people disappear, run away? How can you possibly get 500 million?
I'm not exactly sure
how
all the flash loans work. They're collateralized, and then I think basically, I don't know. You're gonna have to look up flash loans because it doesn't make a ton of sense because that's money that's out there, and what if that guy lost it? Or where does that come from?
Yeah, he was getting.
I don't know exactly.
Very interesting. Does this hurt or help, or zero difference to the CryptoPunk market?
I think it makes no difference.
It gets some attention, maybe.
Other than if, maybe a little bit of attention. I think the bigger thing is if it ends up creating the wrong kind of attention, like regulatory in some way. I can't see this after all the attention that punks and NFTs have gotten, and the fact that it's almost pretty obviously fake, it being like too much good attention. I don't know.
Interesting. It's interesting right now that you can't.
Okay, I gotta go. Literally, restart is in 8 minutes. Wow. I gotta get my car, drive over there. Try not to miss a hand.
Punks are fucking. This is about the all-time high, isn't it?
In USD, maybe
426. All right, guys.
Maybe, although it's not the all-time high in F.
Right. Yeah, but that's pretty incredible. All right, Rast, congrats on your 5th Hall of Famer stamp.
Bro, close this out.
I'm closing out. I'm gonna do the giveaway. 200 BTC. We're gonna give that away from the tweet. I'm gonna do that.
Drive it, JG.
I'm driving it home. You drive over to the Rio. Get your 6 bracelet. I'll see you in the 10K 6 max. Yeah, that's it, guys. This is episode 2 for
You're 2,500. We're gonna be chip lead. End of the day.
End of the day chip leader.
End of the day chip leader.
Going in for a bracelet. There he is.
Call my shot.
Rast out the door. I am going to do this giveaway with you guys. Let me just pin the pin tweet. We'll do that. We'll have a giveaway for this one as well. This is again episode 2. We're gonna have some actual guests on very soon, but I am gonna go ahead and do this live on the show so you guys can see it. Giving away $200 in BTC. Let's do this right here. Let's get this right. My mic falling. Create contest. Shout out to the guy DNP3, also podcast guest. This is his retweet tool picker. Let's download the retweets. There's a lot. It does screen for bots, so anyone trying to get a fast one on Big Free, not going to happen. Let's get this done. Also, I want to shout out State Kings. Do have some action up. I put up for the series. I'll try to get some more up. I put 5 or 10% just so you guys can. I capped the main event. Of course, this isn't working. The filter. Let me just cleanly look at this. Esfandiari's guys main event up there. Kessler. We should get Rast. We should go a little Rast. Look at the bag. Look at those shoes, man. How could you lose today? Put that. Throw that up there. Boom. Throw it up. Give us something to do it. Don't miss any hands. Good luck.
I'm gonna miss hands at this point.
All right.
The question is how many. Let's make it 1.
Get there, Rasty. All right, he's going. Here's what we got. I did throw up a little more for the 10K 6 max today. I got some requests on that. We got some 10K events, 3,200 online, bunch of stuff on State King. So put that up. And then here is the winners, 219 eligible winners, $200 in BTC coming your way. Let's shut this down. And we are going to pick a winner, and it is Gimble Tahau. So very cool. Tahau Gimble is going to win that. I'm going to message him right now. All right. That's it, guys. I am going to shut it down. We covered CryptoPunks. We covered Rast Bracelet. And I would actually just last thing we were joking about this because it's funny because Rast won his bracelet with King 10 off. I lost my bracelet. The closest I came, a second place with King 10 off with my ace jack. And yeah, I actually got turned dead because he flopped a pair, turned trips. I actually rivered an ace, which is so ridiculous because, brick turn, I win with the ace would have been almost over anyway. That's my closest 5 bracelets between Rast and I. He has all 5. Hopefully, I'm going to be adding one to that list, and Rast can add some more. Hope you guys are enjoying Big Free. Again, it's going to be on all the outlets. It's out there, guys. Spotify, Apple, iTunes, everything. I hope you're enjoying it. Let me know if you want to. Oh, he left his Perrier. Let me know if you want to, any other topics you want to talk about. We are going to, if you want to suggest guests to have on that you want to see, that's cool. And of course, I have my podcast as well, 151 on Jeff Gross Podcast. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something. And good luck if you're playing the WSOP, any of it, the main event. Pick your day wisely. Be aware of the structure, the schedule, 2-hour levels, 5 levels day 1. You can buy in on day 2 still for a full level. So no re-entries. Keep it in mind. Have fun. Be your best. World Cup of Vegas, the soccer is on November 5th. It's going to be fun. We have won twice, USA. Going for a 3rd time win. Feeling good. I need to actually get in the gym, do a little cardio because I feel like I'm going to be burnt out. I just feel like my cardio is not there, and that's very tiring indoor soccer. If you are interested in playing and you're in Vegas and you are in the poker player and you want to play, for your respective country, you should reach out. Check that Instagram. We'll put that on the Show More page. And if you could please do that in the video for the World Cup of Vegas Instagram page, and you can message Timothy Adams if you want to play, join your respective country. I think there's like 12 in there, or maybe you could join a country. I think each country has like 2 teams or 2 players that they can add that are not actually from the country. But anyway, all good. Thank you. Episode 2 in the books, Big Free. A lot of respect for Rast, his game, and hope you guys are enjoying. See you soon.